Welcome to the next episode of What's on Your Mind with Jason. I am your host, Jason, and my special guest today is none other than my friend, my confidant, and published author, might I say, Mike Carson with ITD Webdesign. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I am so
Yes,
excited.
I am excited too. We've got some really cool things to cover today. But first, let me show you something, people. This brand new book, Digital Marketing for Home Service Businesses. I have my copy right here. The first purchased copy from Amazon, might I say, of Mike Carson's new book, Digital Marketing for Home Service Businesses. I'm excited. I can't wait to see you the next time I see you in person so I can get this autographed. But this is what we're mainly going to be talking about today is this book and helping home service businesses with their digital marketing, SEO efforts, and so much more. So, yeah, let's dive into this, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right. So, tell me, first of all, about the book. What was the inspiration behind writing the book?
I've been wanting to write this book for 10 years. It's been just something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I basically just buckled down one day and said, this has to get done.
Yeah.
And it's like anything. You always put everything off and you procrastinate. And I'm like, you know what? I have to stop doing that. It's just time.
Yeah.
And I just started doing the outline and just started writing it. And I learned a lot by writing a book. I mean, it's my first book, and it was a bear. And that, yes, there are things that I would do differently in the
Yeah.
next one.
There always is. Yeah.
But basically there's so much misinformation out there when it comes
Yeah.
to digital marketing.
Hmm.
And I read a lot of marketing books and
Yeah.
listen to a lot of audiobooks, and there's just so much fluff and just crap out there,
Yeah.
and it's not helpful.
Yeah.
So I set out to do something better
Gotcha.
and something more helpful. And that's what I tried to do. And you read it. A lot of people out there have read it. And the feedback I've been getting is pretty cool.
That's good. So, why do you think this book is like the essential book for home service companies today?
Because it applies directly to home service companies. I tried to put a lot of examples in there that are specific just for home service companies. And it does. I mean, it says that it's for appliance repair, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, but you can almost just plug anything in there. You can plug landscaping in there. Any type of home service business could benefit from these.
Yeah, if you're a plumber, heating and air, electrician, landscaper, like Mike said, this is a good book for you. Now, tell us a little bit about you and your background. Like, why are you the expert when it comes to digital marketing for home service businesses?
I've been doing this a long time. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've joined a lot of groups. I've listened to all the gurus out there, and I have learned the hard way over 20 years what works and what doesn't. And I've wasted a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this book is a culmination of that. And I mean, things change all the time.
Yeah.
Especially internet marketing and SEO, especially with Google. But what I did is I set the foundation to try to figure out what is timeless, what works timeless and evergreen. And those are the principles I put in the book. And there are some things in there that are, a little more modern that could change in the future. We don't know what the future is going to hold.
Yeah.
But these are the tried and true methods and things that you need to do to make your business a success online.
That's good. That's good stuff. Timeless. I like it. You want to write a book that's timeless. As
Yeah.
I look at my bookshelf and I see so many authors on there. There are a lot of books that are timeless. Man, I like that. And now Mike Carson's book, Timeless. So, Mike, you and I have actually been doing the morning grind together with the Service Alliance group for a little over a year now.
Yeah, it's
When I
amazing.
saw that post the other day, I was sitting here thinking, wow, it's been over a year. Man, that has flown. Every Tuesday, if you would like to join us on the morning grind, it's the Service Alliance group. You can find them on Facebook and YouTube. Watch us on My Office Helps Facebook or YouTube channel. We live stream it there as well. But how's that been? Like being part of a group like that? I'm sure that's where a lot of this inspiration came from, is to help a lot of those contractors, especially in that group, right?
Well, being a founder of the Service Alliance Group, it's been an amazing journey, and
Yeah,
I even thank the Alliance community in the book right up front, because I
yeah,
thought that was really important, because without being involved in the Service Alliance Group, this book probably still wouldn't have been written.
hmm
And
hmm
I've seen so many people out there in the community, in not just our communities, but other online communities, and they're just struggling.
yeah,
And I see so many people just asking questions, and all these fake marketing people that don't know what they're doing, just going in there and giving really bad advice. And
mm,
even other, for example, HVAC and appliance repair business owners, and plumbing business owners, they think that they've got it all figured out. And I see what they're trying to help other people with, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it just makes me, do a big face palm.
yeah,
And it's like, that is not true. Like, I don't know what blogs you're reading,
yeah,
and information that you're thinking is out there, but there's so much out there that's not true.
yeah,
And I actually belong to a few groups where we actually do testing.
mhm,
When we see all this information coming out and somebody claims something, we go out and we test it, and we find out what Google likes and what doesn't like, and we test those theories, and we record our tests, and we document everything. And some of
yeah,
these tests, they can take up to a year,
mhm,
before we're like, yeah, it really does apply, and
yeah,
it's held and it sticks. you know um I've done a lot of tests myself, and I've helped other people with tests. And if you're not testing, you need to know somebody that is, so that you know where to put your time and effort. you
mhm,
know I've said this all along, a lot of times. you know 20% of what you do brings 80% of the results.
yeah,
But if you don't know what that 20% is to work on,
mhm,
then you're spinning your wheels, and you're working on what you're doing, fruitless things for your business,
yeah,
and wasting a lot of time and money. And that's what I tried to do in this book, is talk about that 20%.
yeah. That's good. That's some good stuff. You can almost write a book. Oh wait, you did about this. So, what are some of the most significant challenges that you have found that home service businesses face when it comes to digital marketing? And how does this book address these challenges?
That I would probably say the absolute biggest challenge that all home service businesses um have has absolutely nothing to do with digital marketing at all.
Hmm, really?
Yeah. And I even put a very blunt statement in my book right up front in the intro.
Mhm.
And before we even get into the rest of the book, I say, if you are not answering your phone, then you don't need digital marketing.
Mm,
You can significantly increase your business and your
yeah,
revenue by answering 100% of your phone calls.
simply put.
And I mean, the whole intro, it starts out with a lot of statistics in various industries from a lot of different sources, all about answering your phones,
Yeah.
and where those calls come from, and why.
Hmm,
The science and statistical data that's actually out there and proven, that shows where those phone calls come from, why phone calls happen, how the research happens, from the potential customers.
Yeah.
And I wanted to open with that so that I could tell people you don't need to worry about digital marketing whatsoever if you're not
Just
doing
answer
these
the phone.
fundamental things first.
Good point.
Get that done right up front, master it, convert people, get your CSRs on board, outsource your phone calls if you have to, to someone like you guys at My Office Help, and definitely get that handled first.
Yeah.
Then once you get that mastered, now you move on to the rest. And that's where I wanted to set that precedence so that people aren't floundering, because if it's a basic principle, I mean, common sense is not very common, right? So we all need reminders.
Common sense is not very common. I like that.
So we all need basic reminders for a lot of different things in our life. And if you think that you need more work, or you want more revenue, and you haven't gotten some basics in your foundation solid, why do you need digital marketing? It's designed to drive even more of that stuff to you. And if you can't already handle what you've got and answer those calls, why do you need more? Figure that out first. Then go finish reading the book.
Yeah. Good points. Would you say that this book is for a certain size business, like a smaller, like 400,000, 2-man shop? Or is this book for like a $2 million shop, 3 million, or is it for just anybody who has
the principles that I put in this book apply to everybody. It doesn't matter what size business you are, whether you're a one-man show or, a 15 truck operation. It doesn't matter. All of this applies.
Good. Now, I notice in your book, like chapter 3, chapter 13, you emphasize a lot on local SEO in your book. Why is it so crucial for home services businesses? And what are some of the most effective strategies that a home service business can implement for local SEO?
Well, what a lot of people don't understand is, when people go to Google, I'm going to use Google, that they dominate. They've got 90+% of the search market. So when people go to Google and just search whatever, a lot of people don't understand that there's a local aspect to it. There's a local algorithm that basically local search. And then there's your general search, right? That's more national, more general terms and topics. Well, what a lot of people don't know is Google knows exactly where you're at. They know where you're at when you're searching on your phone. They know your location, and those certain keyword modifiers will trigger the local algorithm to kick off, the local search algorithm. So SEO is extremely important because you want that local relevance. So I talk a lot about that in the book, and you're not looking at general terms, and you're not going to show up for a national SEO search. If somebody just types in appliance repair, that doesn't mean you're going to show up for appliance repair. There's a lot of other factors for that, because that could be, more general national term. So, but if somebody types in their city plus appliance repair, obviously that's going to trigger an absolute local search, and they're going to get completely different results because of those keyword modifiers. So local SEO really matters. And I'm not wanting to sound biased, about this, because it's what we do. I mean, we build websites and we do search engine optimization, but your website is literally your biggest asset as a business owner.
Yeah.
For any business. And that asset has to be optimized for not only your services, but your local area that you provide those services in.
Yeah.
And that's got to be your foundation, and your foundation needs to be super solid.
Man,
and if it's not, then everything that you do in your, like, all marketing, I don't care what kind of marketing it is, all marketing is just going to cost more.
Yeah.
It's not going to produce as good of results, and you're just going to waste a lot of time and money. So that's why I started with the foundational things, like your online presence being your website.
Yeah. Very good, man. That's awesome. I, as an electrician, our website was always one of those that it was very important to me. The look of it, right? Even today, you can still go on there and see it. And
everybody wants to start with making it look pretty.
And
that's the wrong approach.
Exactly. You're like reading my mind. And getting to that point of the local SEOs where I faltered many times. And if I had you and I had your digital marketing for home service Bible, then I think I would have done better. I mean, we did pretty good, but I can only imagine how much better our business would have been. But we had a good company that answered our phones. So, I can't say much about that. We answered our phones. That'll be one thing that I can say, that we had a lot of people say, man, I would always ask, why did you go with us? And literally one of the number one reasons, aside from our reputation, was you answer the phone. It's amazing. I'm going to divert back to that. Answering your phone. It can cost you so much money not answering your phone. So a business coach that we work with, Todd Lyles, with Service Excellence Training, he is a huge proponent of, if you're a company that's a revenue of $2 million or less, you should not be answering your phone. You should have a service like My Office Help answering your phone. And I love that statement, A, because it helps us get business, but B, when I think about it, all the times that I was up in the attic crawling around and I would be answering my own phone, trying to schedule stuff, I'm like, man, look how much time I'm wasting on this job that I could be getting done with this one, making this customer even more happy, or even moving on to the next job, right? So, take Mike's advice.
Think of yourself as a technician in that situation. It's like you're in the middle of something, and then the phone rings, and you're like, oh, I got to stop and answer this phone, or I got to let it go to voicemail. And it's like, it instantly puts you in a different state of mind, in a mood. And you're like, and your stress level instantly goes up just because you got a phone call that you did or didn't answer. And whether it's a good call or not, it's still an interruption, and interruptions cause our stress level to go up. So it sets the tone for your entire day, in my opinion.
Once we got where we had our office answering like all of my phone calls, it made things so much better, especially when I'm sitting there talking with the client, and I wouldn't have to worry about my phone ringing, because I would just be like, I'm going to set my phone aside. I know I've got to go over some pricing stuff with you, but I'm just going to set it aside because you're most important to me right now. And just to see that flip in them saying, oh, I'm more important than his phone. So in your book, you discuss a lot about content marketing as a game changer for home service businesses. Could you share some tips with us on how these companies can create valuable content that resonates with their audience?
Valuable content is a general buzzword that's out there everywhere. And you need to understand what valuable content actually means for your business, because that could mean something different for my business, your business, a home service company. And valuable content simply means what is valuable to your potential client, what's going to help them. So for example, I wrote this book. I wanted to make sure it was extremely valuable and that the book itself was valuable content, right? And I strictly work with home service contractors. So that was my target market. So I wanted to speak only to that audience. I
Yeah.
didn't care about, the bakers. I mean, like this book applies to so many different industries. It's insane.
Hmm.
But I wanted to speak to one particular audience, and that's who I'm going to talk to, right? So that is an example of valuable content that's only applicable to your target audience.
Hmm.
So you have to give them something beneficial. And a lot of people don't want to give away too much. They don't want to teach people how to fix a refrigerator or,
Yeah.
maintain, cooktop range or something
Yeah.
like that. But they think that that's going to harm their business from getting business, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
You want to give helpful advice, you want to give helpful tips, and you want to showcase your personality.
Hmm.
You want to showcase, the behind the scenes. The old school way was everybody hid behind their websites, hid behind all their marketing, didn't put themselves out there. Man, have things changed.
Yeah.
And like I gotta say, YouTube has definitely changed that. YouTube
Yeah.
made that shift. Once everybody started getting out there and people started noticing, there's people behind these companies and what are they about? And you start seeing the behind the scenes things. That's helpful because it shows your personality. But getting back to the helpful content, you have to do both. You have to combine your personality with your helpful content. I don't think there's an either or. I think it's both.
Yeah.
And when you
That's good.
put both of those together, it's a really powerful combination.
I like it. Good stuff. Timeless. Common sense is not very common. Man, there's a lot of little tidbits here that I'm getting from this. So, how do you see digital marketing evolving for home service businesses in the next few years? It seems like it's ever changing even up to this point. And I know you wanted to create a book that's timeless, but there's gonna be a point where it changes. So how do you see that evolving over the next few years? And maybe tell us some steps that business owners can take now to prepare for these changes in the future.
I mean, I can give some very recent examples of how things could be changing.
Hmm.
There was talk about banning TikTok
Yeah.
here in the States. So what would that look like if that were to ever happen? I doubt that it's going to happen. But what's going to take its place? Something's got to take its place because people want it. It's so big because people want it.
Hmm.
So what other platform's going to take its place? So you could have platforms replacing platforms for whatever reasons. And it all comes down to the bureaucracy of the governments. And they're cracking down so much on privacy laws and different things. Um, you know, Last week, Google lost a lawsuit that they created a monopoly and they lost that lawsuit. And nobody knows what's going to change. They're appealing it.
Yeah.
They're such a big company and they've got such smart people working for them. They will figure it out, no matter what that ruling comes down to be, whether they have to split up the business and all that. Microsoft back in the day had the same problem. They were a monopoly. They lost their lawsuit and they had to split things up. But in general, you never even saw real change. It never affected most people in a negative way. They learned how to navigate it. And I think Google's going to do the same thing with this lawsuit. And everybody's out there, I had somebody I know just emailed me yesterday. EJ emailed me and he's like, "Hey, how is this going to affect things?" And I read this email that he received about the Google lawsuit from this other company,
Mhm.
and they were using it as a fear marketing tactic
Yep.
just to get people to sign up for their conference.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Mhm.
It's no, they're saying all this stuff and it's pure speculation. There's nothing to worry about,
Yeah.
especially at this point, unless somebody actually puts out some real information that for a fact this is going to change and this is how it's going to affect you, and you can back it up with documentation. Other than that, don't listen to all the BS that's out there.
Yeah.
But I think things are going to change. They're going to start changing more rapidly. I mean, we've got an election coming up. We don't know how that's going to turn out. I have a feeling I know how it's going to turn out, but
You never know.
you never know.
Yeah.
But
So how do we
that
stay ahead of that curve? How do we get ahead of maybe trends that may be coming up?
well, being aware is
Yeah.
number one.
Okay.
Okay, being aware of what's going on is the number one thing. If you're oblivious and you're not paying attention, then you're going to get smacked upside the head
Mhm.
and you're just going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
So I would say number one, be aware. Number two, do quality marketing. I
Yeah.
mean, when it comes to the marketing end, just put out content that's good.
Hmm. Yeah.
Put out content that's helpful.
Yeah.
I don't think that is ever going to change. Um, everything's been shit. Everything has shifted to helpful content
Mhm.
that so much that it can't be reversed.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that it shifted that way, because that's what the people want. I
Yeah.
mean, the general public wants helpful things.
Hmm.
They need helpful things. I was just talking to my wife. I'm like, we were kind of comparing notes on some people that she has to deal with, at her job and everything. And it's a very younger population that she has to deal with. And she's like, these young people and kids just don't get it these days.
Mhm.
Like, they're just oblivious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, but they aren't taught, in a way that makes them aware of anything. And that generation coming up, they got a lot to learn, just
Yeah.
like when we were young, we had a lot to learn, right? I wish
Mhm.
I knew now what I or knew then what I know now. But
Yeah.
I always heard that from
Yeah.
older people, and I'm like, God, it's so true.
Yeah. Right.
And I wish I would have paid attention to people that knew things, and I wish I would have asked more questions.
Yeah.
I think that's what people don't do, is ask in their business, is they don't ask enough questions.
Yeah.
And it's not as much asking the right questions that's important, but if you ask enough questions, you're going to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan became the best basketball player in the world, in my opinion. And Chicago puts out some great stuff. I'm not biased at all on that, but um, he made a lot of shots.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of shots, and the more shots he made, or the more shots he took, the more he made.
Yeah.
And he wasn't afraid to take shots. So get out there and just take a lot of shots. Ask a lot
Yeah.
of questions. You're going to learn a lot just by asking questions.
That's for sure. So the book, Digital Marketing for Home Service Businesses, it is you can get it on Amazon. So do a search for it. Is it on your website? Do you have a link to that from your
It is
website yet?
not on my website at this point yet.
Okay. ITDWebdesign.com. You can go there. That's Mike's business. Mike actually does our website, myofficehelp.com. Plenty of other contractors out there that you can check out. But this book, I mean, we've just touched a very small amount of this book. I mean, there are so many, there's what, like 15, 16 chapters.
16.
Um, Scaling your marketing efforts, analytics and marketing, email marketing, Google business profile optimization. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I'm especially the chapter 9, a pep talk from your coach. That's a really good one right there. So,
That's the shortest chapter, and it literally, I was like, I need marketing books are boring.
yeah,
Let's just face it.
let's put a pep talk in
And
there.
I'm like, I got to put a pep talk in here
Yeah,
just so it gave it a break. And I'm like, I got to put it right in the middle. So chapter 9 was the middle. That's why it was in there. So,
well, Mike, before we close out, if you've watched any of my podcasts, you know I do some lightning round questions. So before we end, we're going to do some lightning round questions. I'm going to give you a couple of choices, and you just tell me what pops in your head first, right?
great.
Okay,
This
you ready?
sounds fun.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs,
Mac or Windows?
Windows,
Okay. Chick-fil-A or Arby's?
Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Would you rather see out of your ears or smell out of your feet?
Oh, see out of my ears.
That was always a good one. And finally, would you rather spend a year at the North Pole or 2 years in the Sahara Desert?
Ooh. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
That's a real tough one. I'd probably
That's
say 2 years in the Sahara
2 years
Desert.
in the desert. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to leave that one alone. But yeah, okay, 2 years in the Sahara Desert. Mike, it's been great to have you on the show. Once again, the book is Digital Marketing for Home Service Businesses. You can pick yours up at any of the trade shows that Mike goes to or on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. Go check it out. It's a great book. As always, Mike, it's always a blast getting to do a show with you. So thanks for being on the show. And we look forward to many years of a timeless book and success for you.
Maybe that's the name of my next book, Timeless.
Timeless. All right. Thanks again, Mike, for being on.
Well, thanks for having me on.